So today I want to talk about sharpening stone hardness and the tendency for them to burnish, which essentially means the stone stops cutting. And that has happened with this stone this morning. This is a 61 Rockwell VG10, and it was sharpening fine on this stone, and then all of a sudden it stopped cutting. So we're going to kind of briefly talk about why that happened. But if you've ever used sandpaper before, you know that it doesn't last forever. No matter what you're sanding, whether it's something soft like wood or plastic or something hard like metal, eventually the sandpaper wears out. Eventually, the grit that you're working with wears out. It becomes smooth. Now, a hard stone, a lot of people kind of mix that up and think that a hard stone has hard cutting material. And while there are different hardnesses in the abrasive in the stone, the feel of a hard stone really comes from the binder, or what holds the stone together. A stone with a very hard binder, like this Tricera, really doesn't release the abrasive material. So as your abrasive material wears, you're really just smoothing it out. A stone with a softer binder will wear more quickly, dish more quickly, but it will also cut much longer, or possibly forever, until there's no stone left, because the old abrasive material is being broken off and swept away. I'm not going to get into too many more specifics on that. I want to keep this video short. I'm going to do a couple seconds of sharpening on this burnished stone. Then we're going to go over how to refinish the stone, and I'll show how much better that will cut after that's done. So I'll just make a few passes. You'll be able to hear and see a difference once you see the stone cut after it's resurfaced. So you can see pretty much clear water left on the edge. There's a tiny bit of metal left on the surface of the stone, and it sounds very smooth. Now this is a 400 grit stone, and it doesn't sound anything like that. This is some 60 grit silicon carbide. This puts that very aggressive texture back in the surface of the stone, removes all of the burnished grit, and gives us brand new abrasive. And you'll be able to hear a difference immediately, and should be able to see a difference what's left on the stone. So you can see very, very gray water here from the metal particles in it, and all over the stone. So that went from actually pretty much not cutting at all to being right back to how it should be, a fairly aggressive 400 grit stone. Well, that's going to be the first installment of the stone binders and hardness. I plan to touch on this more and get quite a bit more in depth with it in the future.